Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to go on a little linguistic adventure, and all we need is one single five-letter word. It might not look like much, but trust me, it holds the key to a fascinating secret about how we learn language itself. Let's get into it.
So let me just ask you this straight up. What if I told you that you could build a really solid foundation for speaking English, a language with over 1,000,000 words, using just 850 of them? It sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, just stick with me on this.
To get our heads around that wild idea, we're going to put one little word under the microscope. That word is burst. Yeah, I know, seems pretty basic, but you're about to find out it's a member of a very special, very exclusive list. Okay, first things first. Before we get into what a word does, we've got to know how to say it, right? So let's start with the sound of burst. Now this is pretty cool. Check out the subtle difference here. In the UK, it's a softer burst. You almost don't even hear that R. But in the US, that R is right there, front and center. Burst. It's a tiny detail, but it's a great little reminder of how one word can have totally different vibes, even in the same language.
Okay, so we've got the sound down. Now let's dig into its first big job, being an action word. You know, a verb.
And this is where burst starts to get a little weird, honestly. Just look at this. The present tense is burst, okay? But the past tense is also burst. How strange is that? He bursts the balloon today. He burst the balloon yesterday. It doesn't change. That makes it an irregular verb. And man, these are the kinds of words that can really trip you up when you're learning English.
Here's a perfect example of that in the wild. My front left tire burst. Now, that sentence is in the past, but the word looks exactly the same as it does in the present. It just perfectly captures that sudden bam, that violent action of something breaking open from the inside. But wait, there's more. Burst isn't just an action. It can also be a thing, an idea, an event. It can be a noun. And this just brilliantly shows off its other personality, a burst of laughter. See? Here, the word isn't the action itself. It's the result of the action. That sudden explosion of sound. You could have a burst of music, a burst of energy, even a burst of flavor. It's all about that sudden, intense release. So, okay, we've got this one small word. It can be an action or it can be an idea, and it's got that weird, irregular past tense thing going on. But so what? What's the big deal? What makes this word so special that we'd spend this whole explainer on it? Well, it's time for the big reveal. The whole reason burst is so important is because it belongs to a system called Basic English 850.
So what is that? Well, Basic English is basically a super simplified version of English. It was designed to be really easy to learn for anyone, anywhere in the world, and the entire system is built on a core list of just 850 very carefully chosen words.
Just let that number sink in for a second. 850. That is a tiny, tiny toolkit to build an entire language with, which means every single word that made it onto that list has to be a real workhorse. It's got to do a ton of heavy lifting. And you guessed it, our case study word, burst, it made the cut. It's on the list. So according to the system, it's considered an absolutely essential building block of the English language. So the crucial question is, why? Why this word? And this is why. Burst is like the Swiss Army knife of words. I mean, it's a verb that can act on something, like he burst the balloon, or it can just happen on its own, the balloon burst. Plus, it's a noun you can actually count. 1 burst of laughter, 2 bursts of applause. And as we saw, it's irregular, which teaches a really tricky rule that lots of other words follow. It's this incredible versatility that makes it so fundamental. It packs so many different grammar lessons into just 5 little letters. And that brings us to our final thought here. We just peeled back all these different layers of grammar and meaning, all hidden inside one simple-looking word. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If one word like burst can teach us this much about how language works, what kind of secrets are hiding in the other 849?